Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're doing a deep dive into the absolute transformation of how we consume media and how businesses have totally rewritten the rules to monetize our attention. Grab your focus because we have a ton of fascinating ground to cover. Let's kick things off with a number that is honestly just going to blow your mind. 4,800. That is the number of hours the average American adult spends consuming media every single year. Seriously, think about your own digital diet for a second. That's more than 2.5 times the hours you'd spend working a full-time job. And okay, it's probably a lot more fun, but where exactly are all those hours going? Well, the days of traditional television just dominating our living rooms, yeah, those are behind us. Time spent with digital media now vastly exceeds traditional TV. It accounts for over 60% of our total media time. We're talking over 8 hours a day on desktop and mobile platforms combined. The shift from physical to digital is undeniable at this point, and it's completely reshaping entire industries from the ground up. Here is our roadmap for today. We're going to cover 1. The digital media takeover. 2. New rules of revenue. 3. Publishing's digital evolution. 4. Entertainment and streaming wars. And finally, number 5, the creator economy. So let's jump right into section 1. The digital media takeover, and our new consumption habits. When you break it down, there's a really clear hierarchy to our digital cravings. Video is leading the pack by a massive margin at 77%. Then you've got digital audio at 66%, and digital games at 54%. And a lot of this is heavily driven by mobile platforms and Gen Z. They're the first generation of true digital natives who just expect content to be available anywhere, anytime. We aren't just sitting in front of a big screen anymore. We're literally carrying our entire media empires right in our pockets. Which brings us to section 2, new rules of revenue, or how all that attention actually becomes profit. In the early days of the internet, we kind of expected everything to be free, right? But the industry adapted and it settled on 2 dominant models. First, you've got the subscription model, think Netflix. You pay a recurring fee and you get an all-you-can-eat buffet of high-quality, unlimited access without any interruptions. Then on the flip side is the freemium model, think Spotify. You get basic access for free, which is subsidized by ads, but you pay a premium if you want to strip those ads away and unlock better features. So it really comes down to this. Do you prefer to pay upfront for the subscription, or are you willing to sit through the ads for free content? The market has proven there's massive profit in just giving consumers that choice. But the real engine driving these models is something absolutely crucial called media convergence. Simply put, this is the merging of previously distinct technologies, content designs, and industries into these synergistic combinations. Just think about your smartphone for a second. It's the ultimate hybrid device. It's your daily newspaper, it's your movie theater, your stereo, your gaming console, all rolled into one. And this technological convergence forces content convergence, where stories are designed to be shared across multiple platforms. That naturally leads to industry convergence, where giant media enterprises merge just to cross-market their content. It's a total, massive structural overhaul. Moving on to section 3, publishing's digital evolution and the battle to survive. I really want you to let this stark reality sink in. U.S. newspaper revenues shrink from $60 billion in 2002 to roughly $20 billion in 2021. I mean, wow, that is a massive multi-billion-dollar disruption. As we all migrated to our mobile devices and started getting our news via social media feeds instead of, front pages, print ad revenue just plummeted. Legacy publishers were totally caught flat-footed. It took a really long timeline for them to adapt to this. Back in the late 90s, we had the print-centric model, where publishers basically just copy-pasted their print text onto a web page. Not exactly innovative. By 2010, they evolved to an integrated model, mixing in some multimedia. But today, the survivors have to operate on a digital-first approach. The digital platform is the primary product now. You need continuous 24/7 updates, social media engagement, and highly dynamic content driving the news cycle. The physical print edition is really just a secondary byproduct of the digital feed at this point. The book publishing industry faced its own digital reckoning with ebooks, which led to a massive power struggle. Originally, you had the wholesale model. This allowed retailers like Amazon to set the retail price, often driving prices way down just to capture market share. Well, publishers hated this. They felt it completely devalued their books. So they fought back hard to establish the agency model. In this setup, the publisher sets the price, and the retailer just acts as an agent taking a commission. It was this huge structural battle over who actually gets to control the perceived value of digital content.
All right, on to Section 4, Entertainment and the Streaming Wars, the battle for your screen.
If you want to see what profound disruption looks like, just look at the music industry. Digital revenues now make up an astonishing 87% of all music sales in the US. Physical formats, they're holding on to just 13%. And within that digital slice, streaming is absolutely king. The music industry resisted digital hard at first, and they suffered through a 20-year revenue slump because of it. But eventually, subscription streaming services pulled the industry's revenues right back up above their 1999 peak. It's an incredible comeback story. Which brings us to the most vital question in video entertainment right now. Who is going to win the streaming wars? We are actively witnessing millions of consumers cutting or at least shaving their traditional cable cords. Instead, we're all turning to over-the-top or OTT services. Titans like Netflix, Hulu, Apple TV. The battle for your screen is incredibly fierce, and it's completely shifted us from that old linear TV viewing experience straight into the era of on-demand binge watching. But look, video isn't just about movies and TV anymore. Check out this surprising fact. Esports tournaments now routinely draw an online audience equal to professional football games. No, seriously. Platforms like Amazon's Twitch are drawing hundreds of millions of viewers to watch professional online gaming. And advertisers, they are flocking there because it captures this massive demographic of young folks who are incredibly hard to reach through traditional media. Gaming is definitely no longer a niche. It's a mainstream entertainment juggernaut. And that leads us to our final stop, Section 5, the creator economy and the rise of user-generated empires. The monetization toolkit for today's creators has become incredibly diverse. They aren't just making fun videos in their bedrooms anymore. They're operating as media-first startup entrepreneurs. They're using ad revenue sharing on platforms like YouTube. They're building direct fan subscriptions through Patreon or Substack. They sell digital goods, NFTs, and take direct fan tips. They're basically building these hybrid, highly dynamic revenue models that completely bypass traditional media gatekeepers. However, we do need to inject a little dose of reality here. While the creator economy is booming and you see all these headlines highlighting the new millionaires, this is really hard work. Only a very small percentage of creators actually make over $5,000 a year just from social network creator funds. Relying solely on a platform's payout, highly challenging. The real success stories are the ones who diversify their income and treat their channels exactly like a nimble, strategic digital startup. And that brings us to the end of our explainer today. We've seen how convergence totally reshaped publishing, ignited the massive streaming wars, and ultimately gave birth to the creator economy. So I want to leave you with this final, somewhat provocative thought. With these digital platforms literally turning everyone into a potential media empire, are you content just being one of the people spending 4,800 hours a year consuming? Or are you going to be the next creator? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, and we'll catch you next time.